this is fun and enjoyable, but we got some folks that have come to join us. Our
What
fellow.
up, guys?
Let's crack
How-
it.
We wouldn't miss this one, buddy.
There it is. That's what's up. That's what's up. Mike, it has been quite a minute since I have
Man,
actually gotten to physically talk to you. How are you, sir? You good, bro?
Yes.
dog, man,
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I'm a single teardrop when John told me what tonight was, so I couldn't miss it. I had to be here. So I just want to start off quick to say, congratulations, man. You guys are the staple. I always said this. It's like the New England Patriots, as you know that. But this is the standard. It's like serious over here. Man, Jonathan, I love you, buddy. You are a character. You need to, man. I hope you start a podcast and you go on to do something else, man. You are hilarious, bro. Jr.
sir.
Dog, I have said, I think I spoke this like four, like 98 times. But it's the show is cool. I love the show. I love Atlanta. I love the Falcons, dog. I respect you as a man. I admire
Thank
you
you.
as a human being, bro.
I appreciate
I
that.
study people and I watch the way that you conduct yourself. I watch how you parent. I watch how you treat others, and it's genuine. And a lot of this shit, I tell John, behind the scenes, is fake shit to me. It's a lot of bullshit and fake
A
shit
lot of it.
where they smile in your face and they act like they your best friend and they support the show, and then they get behind closed doors and they do a lot of sucker
Do
shit.
not. I'm about to say do nothing but just talk junk.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I watch you,
Mhm.
man, and I've never, bro, you have no asterisk with me. I've watched you be a flawless human being. I've seen you be a parent. I've watched you just everything you do, bro. I cannot rave enough about you as a person. Like the show was cool. I love pound for pound. Right? But man, I love you as a human being, bro. You are the coolest. Anytime we had help, you genuinely extended your arms to us, and everything you did, you encouraged us, you helped us. We have chilled personally. You know what I'm saying? We had food personally a few
Oh, yeah.
times. Dog, you are one of the coolest people, if not the coolest person that we met doing this shit. So
Well,
I
thank you.
can't say enough about you personally, bro. Like just as a human being. I wanted to start saying that, dog. I love you as a person. As
Man,
a
you can't
human
start
being.
off like that because now I'm just like, all right, well, we out because I
No,
can't.
bro. I had to say, as a human being, bro, I'm your biggest fan. And I
Well,
wanted to
thank you.
just throw this in there. I don't know where he is if he joined. Shout out to Toby.
Oh
I
yeah,
have to
yeah,
throw that
Yeah.
in. Shout out to Toby
yes. Shout
because
out to
he's
Toby
Bill
for sure.
Belichick. I don't know where he is, or I hope he can pop in tonight. But I just wanted to say that there is no pound for pound if you don't include Toby. So I
No,
had to say that. So just shout out to Jonathan, shout out to JR, and shout out to my man Toby. Man, I love y'all.
yeah. Thank you
Glad
very
I could
much,
do that.
Mike.
Yeah.
That was
Appreciate it,
amazing.
man.
Thank you, John.
You
What's up, brother?
nothing, man. You left me absolutely nothing to say,
Nothing
dude.
like
Like
no
you
like
like
he ate like there's like I don't know what you're like you're gonna
JR,
have to
you're a
send him
really
a
cool
message and
dude,
be like,
man. It's been great. It's been fun. Jonathan, you're awesome. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, I
there
can't
you go.
follow that. You should have let me go first. I didn't know you're supposed to do that. Dang, dude. But
We
no,
got
yeah.
another folks add on. I know he
Hey,
What up, Joe?
I'm glad
What's
I
going
caught
on,
John.
man?
I'm glad I caught John and Mike because John sent me a text earlier. I don't know if I'm able to make that show. I got a lot going on tomorrow, but hey,
That's all good.
we're talking now. And I
That's
wanted
there
to
you
drop
go.
by, to
Yep.
give you guys, all of you guys, really your flowers, but JR and Jonathan especially for the last show.
Yeah,
You got
we
one.
appreciate
I mean, regular listener here. So I
There
like
you
to.
go.
I always like to hear what you guys are saying.
Live fast. He says pound for pound ending, question mark why? Real simple. I'm out of gas. Like in the sense of I've always said for years that anytime, and you've heard other people say it in the football world, if a player is thinking about retirement, they probably should just retire. And this is something that has been on my mind for most of the past 2 years, really. The past 2 seasons, I've been thinking about I'm probably done with this, and so this year I finally pulled the ripcord. I hoped we were going to go out with a much better situation, but nonetheless, hey, we paid a lot of money and we got one more win, Joe. We got one more.
Hey,
We didn't get seven wins.
Grady yesterday said that's improvement.
Hey,
At the end, I've said it before. I just want progress. if it's one win, in like 3 or 4 years,
God gives you one more win. It's like, damn it! I was trying to be humble by just saying I wanted progress.
Yeah. He gave you
So,
just
like,
what you asked for. That's why you gotta say bigger.
Yeah, that's why
like,
you gotta be
in-
specific.
in like 5 years, we'll be finishing up the season 13-4.
There it is.
Right.
So
Hey, we already said if something starts happening, like we start off crazy next year, we're coming back. Like
well, look, I want y'all definitely come back. That way I got somewhere I can just pop in every now and again.
Yes,
There you
sir.
go.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, we love having you on throughout these years, mainly like obviously because you get a different perspective than what we get. You have a different level of access, and you're also a very handsome individual. And we just like looking at you, through the screen. But
Be the first one.
So how is the vibe up there when you're doing the exit interviews with the guys compared to last season? Tigger is bouncing. Okay.
Yeah, that's my
Fantastic.
alarm.
It's all good.
It's always melancholy. Like when the season's over, nobody's happy about it. You can tell that the stress just all goes away because they're just kind of stressed through those last final weeks, especially when you've got playoffs on the line, expectations that they have of themselves and everything. So it's always melancholy, but like you'll see when you go in the locker room, you'll see like jerseys out for guys with like Sharpies for guys to sign. Like you'll see a lot of like the team signing like a ball or a jersey or position groups all kind of exchanging that kind of stuff because it's like in professional sports. You don't know when you're going to see a lot of those guys again.
Right. Yeah.
You don't know what your next year is going to look like for the vast majority of football players. So it's always a little sad for those guys, I think, in that respect. But I could hear like the offensive linemen kind of talking about how they were going to go have like a dinner together that night before they kind of parted ways and everything. So it's just kind of sad, for everybody.
Yeah, I could see that. I could I didn't know like I've seen the comments from Grady, talking about that the young nucleus. So I didn't know maybe if comparative to last year at the end of the season to this year with Raheem at the head and with
Right.
what seems to be a much clearer direction at QB.
Right. Yeah.
Is there, was there a better, like a better
Totally.
overall feeling around the
Totally.
building?
And the exit interview day is not the greatest day for interviews, honestly, because you don't see a lot of players. Like the locker room is far more filled up when, they're about to go out to practice or something, on an exit interview day. Like, honestly, it's like guys kind of walking through and some may or may not want to talk, but you're totally right. Like guys are, I think, more than encouraged by what they've seen from Penix, and obviously we got to hear from Penix himself, and he's so impressive. Just like whenever I hear him talk, he exudes such a confidence, but it's not like for the cameras or for anybody. It's just like truly how he feels, and he's just kind of calmly saying that like we're going to be the best offense in the NFL next year and that kind of stuff, and it makes you feel like he believes it, and it makes you believe it. So when you hear it, but yeah, I mean, I think guys are definitely encouraged. Last year was weird because you had the coach firing, and I think a lot of players maybe just felt bad about that because they felt like, there's just upheaval in the organization. They don't know what's going on. It creates a lot more uncertainty for them, knowing that they're going to have new coaches, new opinions on, who they'll want to be on the roster next year. So I think that this year, maybe guys are more comforted knowing a little bit of what the future may entail for this team.
No doubt. All right, sorry. I got about 5 things going on. Normally, I'm a little bit better at where I want this to go. Now, Joe, I know you don't have a ton of time with us today, so you can just throw up the deuces if one of us is in the middle of a rant and you got to bounce.
Oh, all good,
but
yeah.
We very much appreciate you stopping in. Fred wants to know: is there any truth about McKay could be fired? I think people are still looking for a new scapegoat. I think lately it's been Terry Fontenot has been catching the heat.
He's not part of the Falcons, or he's not part of that side of the organization anymore. He is at United. Like
I think there was wasn't there like some kind of John Yates? I don't know if you've heard this or not. Like some kind of report about somebody saying that Rich McKay was still pulling strings from day to
Yeah,
day.
I saw that. Yeah, something like he's still actually the secret guy who's getting
Right.
it done.
So
That's
Joe,
bad,
is there any truth to
Well,
Rich McKay still being the puppet master?
I have no idea. I
He
wouldn't be
comes into the
shocked.
building
I
with,
mean,
like,
I mean, would be
overcoat,
right. Exactly. Yeah.
sunglasses.
Top hat
Yeah.
on,
Wouldn't be I mean, probably wouldn't be the first time that kind of thing has happened. Not just with him, just generally, you know, with guys doing duties maybe they aren't supposed to be doing or aren't like publicly noted to be doing. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of kind of you know, Dave Choate wrote a great article today. I think it published today, or I at least read it today on the Falcoholic about just kind of the lack of continuity kind of at the top of the organization and really kind of falling out from that mid 2000s and like after that Super Bowl, you know, just it hasn't really been the same ever since, like really moving on from those teams. It's just been so much chopping and changing. And certainly I think, you know, Rich McKay had a part to play in that, but as to what he's doing day to day, I have no idea.
No, all right, Mike. What do you think? You think Rich McKay's up in there with a trench coat on, glasses, really standing over Terry like this is what we really got to
do? People tend to try to find something. It got to be somebody's fault. Like somebody got to get the spanking. I got to blame somebody. And instead of saying, man, I shouldn't have jumped 2 feet into the pool and saying we just won the Super Bowl and go undefeated, I got to find somebody else to put it on. And he's like the most unlikable character. So he would be first up. He would be the first guy to be. So, but I think
he's that boogeyman.
I think he's in charge of like the business, like vending and the seats and the stadium.
Right.
I don't think he had
all that. Yeah, I kind of I poked a joke at. It was shortly after the game on Sunday. All these articles, started coming out, and posts kept coming out about like, Terry Fontenot should be gone, and I was just like, well, it looks like we have found a new scapegoat, so that's great.
Bro, they pitch it like your Rich is over there, like he just stroked his ear like 2 times, and then you get fired or something. No, it's not happening. I don't think that's the case. No, I don't think he's that important.
I think I think these things happen because fans are trying to make sense of what has happened, and you do that by like forming a story or a narrative in your head as to like why this has all transpired this way and gotten to this point. Because any other way to think about it is too confusing, and it's like I think just like biologically we're like designed to kind of reject what we don't understand, and so I think that's why you always kind of hear these kinds of theorizing happen like after a season, and yeah, there's always kind of scapegoats that come out of that.
Oh yeah, I mean you gotta have somebody to point the finger at. You gotta have somebody who is the problem, so to speak.
And by the way, as it goes like scapegoat theory, a scapegoat can actually be like it can actually have done wrongdoing. Like a scapegoat can actually be someone who did a crime that then gets excommunicated from the community or whatever. So it's not to say that like when you say, oh, like Terry's a scapegoat or McKay's a scapegoat, it's not to absolve them to say like, oh, those guys haven't made any mistakes. It's not their fault. Certainly, I think everybody has a part to play in mistakes when you have 7 consecutive seasons without a winning record.
I'll give you a useless piece of trivia that might help you win your trivia night up at the local pub or wherever you end up might be doing trivia, right? But the one of the first references of the term scapegoat or like the concept of scapegoat actually is a biblical concept. When the Israelites were coming out of Egypt and they were going through the Exodus, right? And I'll keep this real short. It was a part of the process is you would sacrifice one goat and then send the other goat out into the wilderness. And like the theory was that you were sending your transgressions with it, right? And that's where we got the concept scapegoat from, which is
I need to send a goat, man, into the wilderness then, man.
Hey, I'm just saying, like they sacrificed one and sent one to Azazel, and that was a
and it's the sins of the community are placed upon the goat, which then is then excommunicated. So
that's right,
it's
and that's where you get the. So just in case you're ever at trivia,
I say we stick it all on Kirk. And then
There
we
you
send
go.
them out
That'll
into the
work.
woods.
Well, see,
That'll
that's the
work.
We
thing.
put all our sins on Kirk, and then we send him out in the woods blindfolded. I say that's the plan.
And then
Well, that's
send
the
him off
thing,
to
like-
free agency. Just
Yeah.
That's the least. Yeah, well, that's the least the thing. That's of all the blame going around. Like, nobody wants to blame the players, like the
Yeah.
guys that's actually on the field that actually
Have
didn't
to
do their job.
execute and do whatever. Like, because
Right. I mean,
it's when it comes to Kirk, I go back to October.
Mhm.
Like, we were all swag surfing,
absolutely.
and
Oh,
we
yeah.
were all swinging, Kirky 2 Chains and Captain Kirk and all this other. You know what I'm saying? It was great because he was playing great. Wasn't nobody talking about Penix? Wasn't nobody thinking about Penix? Right? We were playing good, and all this other stuff will come around. But as soon as Kirk falls off for whatever reason, medical being what it was or what have you, doesn't matter. I don't know why he fell off. But as soon as he fell off a cliff, well, that was the stupidest decision we've ever had.
Mhm.
Okay, well, where was that energy when he was passing for the franchise single season game, like
In
passing
front of Matt Ryan, I said, "Ugh."
in front of Matt Ryan? That's right.
Yeah.
But that's the part where hindsight's 2020, and we really love revisionist history. We really love to do the whole "I told you so" when most of the time we never said so. Nobody, ever publicly made those type comments, right? My favorite one for myself was the Cordell Patterson. When we signed him, I sat here on this show saying, okay, well, he's just a return guy, whatever. It's kind of a lot to pay for a return guy,
or gimmick guy, or
yeah,
whatever.
I was like, all right, maybe we can get some gadget plays or whatever. Well, they shut me up by at least that year. He was pretty much the engine of the offense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if I can give anybody, parting wisdom is own your biases and own your mistakes. If you're biased about something, we all are, every one of us. There ain't a person in this room, in this chat, on the screen that isn't biased about something.
Mhm.
Yep.
So whatever you're biased about, own it.
believe
And
me.
make sure that when you're talking about that to somebody, hey man, this is where I'm at on it, right? So that they know what they're dealing with.
Yep.
Matt Ryan is
What?
the greatest quarterback who ever lived. Okay,
My guy.
Okay, I'm gonna start my bias there. Okay,
There it is. That's my bias.
Knew that was
That's
coming.
my bias.
That's my
He is-
bias.
That's right. It's Matt Ryan's the best quarterback that's ever put on a Falcons jersey.
Yes.
Period. Point blank. I never watched an actual live snap of Barkowski, so I couldn't tell you. But Matt Ryan is like, he's the best. And
Yeah.
I wish he had never went to Indy. I wish
Yes,
he would
sir.
just retired
Yeah.
here.
Matt Ryan is the prototypical franchise face of the team guy that you want your QB to always be.
That's right.
Okay, now whether he's more athletic, less athletic than throughout whatever quarterback that comes next, you want him to be what he was outwardly to everybody. Yeah, we knew he cussed like a sailor. He did all this, all the same stuff like, when it was with the guys, right?
Mhm.
But when he came out there, he was the CEO. He was
That's it.
the manager. Like, he was the guy come out there and would take the hard questions, didn't pout about it. Got on to guys. All the things that you want your franchise quarterback to be. That was him.
He was.
I just wish we could have blessed him with
football
a halfway decent defense at some point in his entire career.
Yeah, me and you both. I really wish we could. All right, so before
can I just add on to that? Like
Yeah.
the quarterback is the leader, and they're the leader of the 53 players that they go out there with, but they're also the leader of like the organization and the fan base and like everything surrounding that. And so the quarterback has to answer to the fans, but then also represents the fans, on like a broader stage. And so it's such an interesting dynamic that any person has to be able to like definitely navigate this situation of being all these things to all these different people. It takes a special type of person. I think you have to be a little bit different, honestly, like in terms of like how focused you are and an ability to just like honestly communicate clearly. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like a wordsmith or anything, but you just need teammates to understand what you're saying, fans to understand what you're saying, coaches, whoever you're talking to. And it's hard to find that person. You can see why. And then obviously you have to have the arm talent and all that goes with it. So
well, that helps.
It's
a
so
little bit.
hard. Yeah, it's so hard. But I think, I think Penix is like that. And he's got obviously he's his own person. He does it in a different way than someone like Matt Ryan, but I think he's got the makings of a true leader, someone who comes in and those guys will follow him. You already see it from, like you were saying, JR, like guys like Grady, excited to kind of follow him, even though he's a rookie this year and Grady's been in this league for a long time and seen everything. So, yeah, I don't know. The future's really bright with Penix. I can't say that enough. And for as mad as people are, I mean, next year's going to be so fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm excited. Like I was going back through before, kind of getting ready for the show as I do every Tuesday. I'll throw on either a condensed version of the game or as of lately, I have been, because of NFL Pro. I don't know if any of y'all have that service. Because of NFL Pro, I can really narrow down what I want to watch and what I don't want to watch. And obviously I didn't want to watch the defense, but I did want to watch,
Why not?
I have seen tissue paper hold up stronger than that defense did on Sunday. But I wanted to see Penix throw, so I literally put on, like, through their filters, Penix passing, and that's it. And I just sat there and watched him throw the ball from the New York game all the way through the Panthers game. And we haven't seen arm talent like that since prime Matt Ryan.
Yep.
And I think he has better arm talent than Matt Ryan.
100%.
Yep.
Like all right, take it easy, Joe. But the ball just jumps off of his hand. And now, for me, again, as a lot of y'all know, just by a stroke of luck, Jonathan can confirm, I didn't start watching football until 2008. And it was just full on happenstance that was the year Matt Ryan came in, all that other stuff, right? So again, I didn't get to watch Vic live. I have seen clips of him, but I hadn't watched like game in, game out. So to watch a left-handed quarterback like of my team, that's an interesting process.
Yeah, I mean, and like what Joe was saying, but his arm talent, I mean, Mike and I talked about last week. I don't know that how many literally quarterbacks in the league can make that throw to Pitts in Washington, and then the one on the sideline against for Hodge. Like,
dude,
I don't even know. I mean, what in the world? Like, I didn't even know. I had to watch it. I had to stop it and rewind and watch it again. I was like, that really just happened?
I didn't know exactly what happened on that play until they showed the replay. I was like, did he get knocked down? Like, what? There's no way he was in bounds on that.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought he was out of bounds. Yeah.
He is confident. So you know how Kirk is like the veteran, but he wasn't. He was pump faking sometimes. He was hesitant. He didn't think he could see the guy was open, but then he would hesitate. Man, that dude his confidence is incredible. He will make the throw.
Something happened with Kirk, man. Like, because he was confident, and all of a sudden it just left him. Like it was visible. You could see it on the field. Like
I gotta ask you, JR,
not trust himself.
What do you think happened to Kirk? Because like you just said, he was balling. We all was there, and like John said, he dropped.
Part of me wonders if it was a deal where you get injured, right? And then you go through all the rehab and everything else, and you go through not actually playing. That's why I used the term earlier, ran out of gas. I almost wonder if in the early part of the season where, they were throwing, 30, 40 times a game, if his arm just died. Yeah. And then once it died, now it's like, okay, I can't make the same throws. Then it gets into like a yips type situation
Yeah.
where now I'm starting to second guess my ability. Right.
Everything.
I'm starting to second guess everything.
Mhm.
And then it's like compounding issues because then you start to get into pressing. Oh
Damn,
crap.
JR,
I
you
have
said
to.
his arm died, he got the yips, and he was pressing.
That's just
Shit.
like, I mean,
That's
like
the
how
order
else
it
do you-
goes in.
That's what I'm saying. Like
That's like,
damn.
how else do you, and then, okay, now we're going to think about, this is something somebody else brought up. I wish I could remember who it was because I would love to give them credit for it. So if anybody in the chat is like, oh, I heard that interview, this was a really good point. You're also talking about, an older quarterback coming off injury, signs here because he wants to be here. Like his family's here, everything else, right? Wants to be here, gets all the love, back pats, everything else. This is our guy, even though you mess up on the mic at the open press conference, call for a draft pick, whatever. That's our guy, right? And then he's down at the stadium because he's a guy who wants to feel loved,
Mhm.
who wants to feel supported. He's not a chip on the shoulder kind of guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you're standing down at the stadium, fully expecting with the 8th overall pick for your team to draft an edge rusher, draft a whatever, a safety, a wide receiver, doesn't matter. Draft anything and everything but a quarterback. Then you get this gut punch that they're going to take this quarterback. Now, by all the accounts, we hear Penix is lighting it up in practice. Who knows if he actually is or isn't. I still, whatever, right? Lighting it up in practice. Now I got this on my back. My arm dies. I start pressing. I get the yips, and I got the 8th overall pick, lighting it up
Yeah.
over
That's
here in
right.
practice.
Yeah.
And for a guy who reportedly is a I need you to love me kind of guy.
Yeah.
I need to feel that love and that support. And there's people out there, we all know that. We all know that. And I'm not even trying to paint that in a bad light. We all know that there's people out there that need to be patted on the head
Mhm.
more than others. And if he's that type of guy, like this is a recipe for disaster.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, this is the best and worst case scenario. And I want to pose this to you, John. So everything goes south with Kirk, worst case scenario. But now you get to see Penix and you're not having to wait 3 years to see if this older rookie is actually going to be. So at the end of the day, Mr. Yates, how do you truly feel about the situation?
Well, it sucks the way it happened because like when we were talking earlier in the season, it was like, well, it sucks we're not going to see Penix this year because but at the same time, if we don't, that's a good thing because that means Kirk's had a really good season. He stayed healthy. The only way we're going to see Penix is if Kirk gets hurt or he just falls off a cliff. I honestly didn't expect. I thought maybe a little bit of decline, but not literally like you can't do the job anymore type of decline.
Right.
Like I didn't see that coming. So that was wild. But yeah, like silver lining is Mike gets 3 starts. He looks good and pretty much. I mean, it's ups and downs like any rookie's going to be. But the fan base, because thank God the fan base got to see it. Because if we had to put up with that for the entire season, then my God, I mean, you're going into the offseason going, well, we hope Penix is going to be good. I mean, we know Cousins is not it, and you got that whole disaster going on. So, yeah, I mean, the silver lining is, we went ahead and started. And Mike, I don't know about what you guys thought. Like, I got why they held off on starting Penix because, you just the contract, everything that surrounded Kirk,
Right.
you're going to give him every opportunity to get out of whatever funk he's in.
Correct.
But as a fan, I wanted to see Penix like 2 weeks prior to when we really saw him. Like after that full interception game in San Diego or here against, I was like, he doesn't have it. Like we gotta make a change. But like I said, I get why they didn't. But like go ahead and start that clock on Penix. But I mean, for the future, best case scenario. For this season, it sucked because of how it all ended out. But for next season and going forward, other than the obviously the contract situation with Kirk, which who knows how that's going to end up? Probably with
I
him
don't-
getting cut, but who knows? But
in
we'll
this
see. But yeah,
in this day and age, you've seen with us a few years back with Denver last year.
yeah.
With this day and age, our salary cap tends to go up every year.
hmm
The things that you have to be able to manipulate the cap. I'm looking at you, New Orleans.
Right.
Like
It's your 200
taking
million
on
in
that
debt.
dead money isn't as a nail in the coffin as it used to be.
Mhm.
But
As long
we'll
as it's
see.
not, as long as it's not like super duper crazy, right?
Right.
Or it's not multiple players with dead money. Like if you're talking about one big hit, like and for all we know, it's not even going to be dead money. If we take it at face value, the reports we're hearing, which is the Falcons are not going to release it.
Oh yeah, they're happy with him
They're either going to trade him, and they're going to want to get something back for that contract, for the money and all that stuff. So they're either going to trade him, or he's going to be their backup quarterback for the remainder of the contract, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Charleston asked JR, could you see Miami calling Terry about Kirk? Didn't they just pay Tua?
Yeah, he's just
So
did.
I can't
Yeah, not
like
Miami.
the teams that I could see as far as like the Kirk deal would be if 49ers decide not to pay Brock Purdy,
Mhm.
familiarity with Shanahan there, right? Depending on who the new HC is in Las Vegas with the Raiders, he may want a couple years of stability with with Kirk out there. They're playing a dome, all that good stuff. I could potentially see New York if they want to kick the can down the road, if they're not overly in love with any of the QB options. And this early during the process, everybody's comparing this QB class to the Ritter QB class of 22.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right. Shador and Cam are
That's it.
the belle of the ball.
Yeah.
And those guys each have their warts and
But-
blemishes.
And I'm not even super confident in Shador.
That's what I'm saying. Both of those guys.
Cam Ward, I'd be okay with taking a Cam Ward in this draft. Shador,
Well,
I don't know what you're gonna like. That guy holds on to the ball too much in college.
It would make sense for the Browns just to add one more quarterback to their 30 odds. Yeah. And Stefanski's there,
right?
They have that relationship there.
They have that relationship, because Nick said the Browns. I mean, they do, and
but Kirk has to approve, but he has to be the one to say, "Oh, okay, I'll do it," because that no trade clause. I mean, he's got to be the one to agree to it. So
that's the thing is, this is where Terry and all those guys have to have a real good poker face. They have to truly mean and understand and be willing to let $45 million sit on the bench. They have to.
Yeah.
Because if they're not willing to actually call that bluff, all Kirk has to do is wait them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you'll know how serious they are come, I think, March 10th. John, do you know that date? You're muted, sir. I don't know if you meant to be muted. But
no, it's either March 10th or March 17th.
It's one of those dates in March where if he's on the roster, then $10 million is guaranteed, like fully guaranteed. But that would be money.
Man, I just wish I was born bigger, man.
Dude, faster. Like either faster or bigger, right? I need to be like 5'6", ain't cutting it. Like I needed about 4 to 10 more inches.
Same here, buddy. Same here. But here's what I want to say. I just want to throw this in there. To me, it was perfect for us, and I know that people they don't agree because we paid them that money. Here's what I'm saying: it was perfect how it unfolded. We had to let Kirk play it out till he was dead in the water. He should have been gone about 2 weeks prior, as John said. But you gotta know, like, he cannot do it. There's no argument anymore. Look at him, like he cannot do it. He can't even do play action because he can't turn around fast enough.
Right.
So he cannot do the job. So we're forced to put this man in, and he played better. So it can be it's just no controversy because we spent years. Is it him or is it him? Should we play him? Should we play him? How about should we draft somebody? Should we do this? And now it's no argument. So that was kind of cool. And I'll be honest, man. I just think it however Penix got to play and to showcase his talent, I'm all for it. And sometimes you waste money. And I'll be honest, I don't blame Terry the way everyone else does. Kirk seemed like a sure bet when he placed the bet.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
that has happened to all of us. When I'm looking at it, have you ever been in the house and you said, "Let me see outside how it looked"? It was sunny.
I
And in about an hour, it was raining, and you said, "Damn!" When I looked outside, it was sunny, so I dressed for sun. So I just can't blame the man for what he saw.
I'm a professional driver, right? I deliver crap all over the state of Georgia for construction. I have an open bed truck that I drive, and I have a willing statement that if it looks like it's going to rain, or even if there's even a chance of rain, if I don't cover up what's in the back of my truck, it's going to be a monsoon. But since I have covered it up, it'll be dry as a bone.
Yeah. So
And so it's that same concept, right? Noah E says giving Cousins a no trade clause is stupid. Talking about Terry, especially with him coming off Achilles injury. Well, brother, I hate to tell you, anybody at Kirk Cousins level is getting a no trade clause. Like Jimmy Garoppolo got a no trade clause.
Yeah.
So, there's like that's just par for the.
I mean, because quarterbacks have that leverage, especially if you're a good quarterback. Okay, you don't have to be an elite quarterback. You just got to be a good quarterback. Teams are so quarterback needy that they have all the leverage. So if you want that quarterback, they're all going to say, "I want a no trade clause," because if I'm going to go somewhere, I want to be able to have some say in where I go.
That's it. And even this latest like restructure of the contract or renegotiating of Deshaun Watson's contract, where they're trying to get it to where they can get out of it. He still has a no trade clause. So they're just not going.
It's the rarest job to me in the world because you can't. You really have about 20 people on the planet who can really do it well on the planet. And it's probably about 12 or 15 if you want to be real on the planet. I was
about to say, if you want to be real about it, it's probably about 10 to 12.
Yeah, who can do it?
I
mean, on planet Earth.
Who can actually do it.
That, you are just trying to see if he can do it. Nope. How can he do it? Nope. Can he do it? Nope. It's about 10 people on planet Earth who can do that.
It's like I make the analogy all the time, or not. I hear it all the time. Like I'm so glad I'm not in the dating pool anymore, right? Haven't been in the dating pool for almost 20 years now. And because when I hear these a lot of women, when what they're looking for, they're looking for a guy who,
tell them about it, Mike.
They're looking for a guy who makes six figures, who's over 6 foot, who has this, that, and the other. I'm like, you all are vying for the same 3 dudes. Y'all know that, right? Like all 5 million of y'all are vying for like 0.5% of the population, if that.
Yeah.
And it just that math ain't mathing.
Yep.
And me being a short, thick, gentleman, I'm glad I ain't gotta do it. I'm glad. Hey, look, I'm just glad my wife gets cold in the winter. Okay. And she likes to, I can keep her warm. That's all I'm trying to say.
I got a couple things here. First of all, I want to say hi to Jay Black.
What up, Jay Black?
What's up, Jay Black?
So I want to say that, and then 2, Mr. Butts, I love you. I know we still always disagree. Always agree. I'm definitely not going to agree with you here. Okay, fine. You may have said I knew Kirk Cousins wasn't going to work. After 8 games of this season, there wasn't nobody thinking, "Oh, he's about to literally forget how to play quarterback in the NFL." There was nobody because he was tearing up everybody.
That's right. That's what I keep bringing back is during October we were all swag surfing. We were all Kirk O'Tang, and
Yeah,
So,
I mean, and it was kind of in a no-win situation. Like if we go, like I don't know what I can't remember Jr. or Jonathan.
Huh.
What was y'all's like before we signed Kirk? Like what was y'all's? What did you want to do at QB? Did you want to draft one of the guys and go with them and just say, hey, let's just start with this guy? Or did you want to? What was your?
I was not in the camp of signing Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I
Yeah.
didn't think we would do that because I thought we were going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah,
There was all kinds of smoke at the time of the Falcons trying really hard to move up in the draft.
Mhm.
And so when I hear all that, I'm like, okay, they're going to draft a quarterback. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking if we sign a quarterback, it's probably going to either be the Russell Wilsons of the world, the Jacoby Brissett's, some guy like that.
That's what I was.
That's what I thought we were going to go
yeah.
with.
That's what
Yeah,
I was thinking. I'm trying to see if I can find because
Now, what I will say, while you're looking that up, what I will say is I am thankful that Kirk Cousins, that we brought him in with Penix, because whatever happened on the field, okay, this is a guy that has been super successful, a whole bunch of it in his career. So to be able to have a young guy come in, I'm not saying he needed a whole lot probably, but have a young guy come in and be able to sit behind and watch a true professional at quarterback, how he prepared. He talks about the giant notebook that Kirk Cousins has from all of his years of experience, and all this other stuff. To be able to have him sit and watch how this guy goes about the business of preparing to play in an NFL game, I couldn't be happier about that.
Mhm.
Like, would it have been the same if we had gone with a Jacoby Brissett? I don't know. Jacoby Brissett has had some success, but he hasn't been like so successful that he's been like, had lots of teams fighting for his services or anything like that. So to have like what many people considered, especially halfway through the season, like one of the top QBs in the NFL at that time, to be the guy that you have your young guy sitting behind, that is probably more valuable than his contract is in the long-term grand scheme of things.
I got it. So I have to ask you guys a question. It's just okay, hypothetical, right? We start next season, and Penix is turning it up, right? He's turning it up, and we're winning games, and we are winning games convincingly. All right, and that's something we never do. Like we never do that, right? We kind of squeak it out, but we are beating teams into the ground, right? And the fans start texting Jonathan. They start texting JR. They say, "Man, we need you back. We need you back. We win it." And it's multiple fans. Okay, it's starting to accumulate. Like the pressure is on you now. They hitting your Twitter. They hitting your cell phone. Hey, come on, guys, you got to come back. We winning. We need you back. Okay, and they throw up the bat signal in the sky. Okay, and you look in the sky and you see the pound for pound logo in the sky. Is there a scenario where we are doing so well that pound for pound returns?
I don't know.
Falcons.
I'll put you like this.
I'm going to say never say never.
Hey, he didn't say no. Nobody said no, y'all. Nobody said no.
That's what we said.
I'll put you like this. I walked away one time, and for a short period of time, it was when it was just me and Toby. And I came back. It was 2019-ish, I think. Out of nowhere, I put out a video, and I was getting around draft time, and I was like, "Hey, are y'all still interested in hearing what I got to say?" Right? Because that's always been the metric for me. Is I'm going to do what I'm going to do regardless, right? Like I'm even now, like today's it for me as far as this platform goes. But if people want to interact with me, I'll still be on Twitter. I'm never going to call it X. I don't care what they label it. I'll still be on Twitter. And if people reach out to me like, "Oh, hey man, I could use you for would you mind popping on a show or whatever?" And I might still do things like that. I'm still going to keep up with it because I'm going to do that regardless. I did it before we ever did this kind of stuff. It's just I got the strong feeling this past year that we've done all we could do. To be completely honest, like it was around the Deshaun Watson thing, we crossed the threshold of 5,000 plus subscribers, which is something I never thought would happen in a million years. And then kind of like Kirk Cousins, it just fell off.
But see,
I don't know why.
that was no fault of your own though. That's
True.
the thing. Because I mean, like the quality of the show and like
No clue why.
But see, I've told, and Mike said the same thing. I've told you that before. Like before we started this, you guys, I mean, obviously Jonathan, you weren't here at the time, but I mean, like you guys, you and Toby were one of the ones we watched, you know, and like, and I mean, and I was one of those, you know, I didn't comment. I was one of the silent, you know, just watching. And a lot of times I couldn't catch you guys live. It was always either the next day at work, or I'd try if you put it on Spotify or, you know, whenever I listened to it on then. But that's the thing. It's like we saw the same kind of thing this year. It was kind of like, I don't know if it was the algorithm. I don't know if it was just an oversaturation of creators in this Falcons space, which is very possible. But either way, we just kind of plateaued too. And it was kind of, and Mike and I, we always we told ourselves from the beginning, we're like, we'll do this as long as it's growing, as long as it's on the uphill climb, then we're going to keep, you know, putting time into it. And then it just happened to where it's like, he's traveling for work a lot. My son's schedule, along with my own schedule, has gotten crazy. We just can't put the time in. We haven't done a quarter of the things we wanted to do this year as far as like content for the channel. So it's like, we were struggling to get one or two. That's what we cut it back to one show a week, because we couldn't even get our regular 2 shows in a week. And so it was like, man, this is just, it was, we didn't want to half-ass it anymore, you know, or try to half-ass it. So it was like, that was
part of the deal. Is I found myself not wanting to put in the same kind of time. I found myself wanting to do other things, because like what the people see, and this is not just us, it's not just y'all, this is everybody who does this stuff the correct way. What you see on YouTube, what you see on, you know, Twitter, what you see on TikTok is like only a small portion of it. Like if you want to do it right, like if you don't want to just sound like an idiot, which I never wanted to sound like an idiot, like you're studying, right? You're studying, especially like right now is when it would really kick into high gear for us, you know, because now there's prospects you got to look at, there's free agents you got to look at, there's if there's a coaching change, okay, well then that's when I really knew that I was done, in a sense, is I had no interest when they fired Arthur Smith. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, we just did this 3 years ago. We just you know, I was like, we just did this, and I don't want to put the energy into like breaking down what is this new scheme going to look like? What is this like? What does this new coach prefer? What is this, you know? And so again, when I realized that about myself, I felt bad, because I realized that about 4 weeks in, 4 or 5 weeks in, and we were playing okay. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh man, maybe if we really start winning.
Man, you pulled a Barry Sanders, JR. Your heart just wasn't, but you went out at the top of your game. You went out at the top of your game.
At the end of the day, if it wasn't for the people in the chat, if it wasn't for what y'all don't know, or what chat don't know, is had Jonathan not agreed to come on 2 years ago, this would have been done then.
Shout out to Jonathan, man.
Right.
Like, doing the clutch, buddy.
That's what
I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Like when Toby had to step away for his, you know, personal reasons, and like when he was done, like I was gonna hang it up then, because I was like, well, I ain't doing this by myself. And I reached out to Jonathan, who I blame wholeheartedly for being all of this nonsense behind me. Is Jonathan's fault. You know,
shout out to Jonathan, man.
That's right. Like, and so, you know, had he not come on, then I'd have walked away 2 years ago.
I'll tell you this, man, and this is a great man. It's just like a compliment that when I saw y'all's show, I knew, and I told John, like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Like, I can't do that. Like that, there's no way. like I can't do that. I'm not even going to attempt to do that. I got to do my own thing. I can't.
No, yeah,
I
as
can't
you
do that.
should.
Like
For
I
sure.
can't do that. But I want to tell you guys, man, it's not my opinion. I don't want you to take this from my thing. Man, I was on TikTok today, and like multiple people was hitting me up saying, it's sad that you and Pound for Pound are leaving. So I want you guys to know that in this whole thing, you guys are like the standard. If we have a standard, like I would say, like you and what's the name, Freeman, would be the
Oh, yeah,
standard for how to do this professionally, with class and correctly, right?
And that's
So I want you guys to know that if you step away, if like you walk away, that's fine. But you made a dent and you set the standard for everyone else to follow. So a lot of people saw you guys and were inspired to do that to the way y'all did it. So y'all made history, man. And there's no way around that. It's historic. It's a historic show. If you say Pound for Pound, we all know who you talking about and we know what you talking about. And I don't have to say the names. We all know who you talking about. You say, I don't got to say the name. If I flash the logo, everybody know what I'm talking about. So I need y'all to know that if you felt it in your soul, that's my man right there, John Gang.
right. I started
Yeah.
this earlier because he says, because I'm listening to it on replay, but I wanted to say Pound for Pound will be missed. I remember when I started to watch them, JR and Toby would do it live together. But hopefully in a quick break and change your mind. Again, like John Cena said on Raw last night, never say
Hey,
never,
yeah. Yeah.
But there was definitely something special about sitting in that same room, and the like motto that me and Toby had was like we were going to be as professional as we could be.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously knowing that, hey, like the vast majority of y'all, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I drive around Atlanta doing my job, listening to, actually as it went on, I found myself listening to less and less because I didn't want my opinion to be influenced because I wanted
Same
my
here.
opinion. I
Mhm.
wanted my opinion to be mine. Like I didn't want to be
Yeah.
influenced by other people. But doing research on players, on schemes, I make the joke that all these books here, except for one or two, are football books because I didn't grow up, a football person.
Mm-hmm.
I started later on and got really interested in it, and loved the strategy behind it. Tried to bring that to, because there was especially when we started, the few people who were doing this, it was the shock jock style,
Mm-hmm.
as in like we're going to thrive off of controversy,
Yep.
and I did not want that.
Y'all was the
Yeah.
Patriots, man. That's
Right.
why I say it was the New England Patriots. Like you gonna do this the right way. If you come
Right.
in the you gonna do it
Did
the
not
right way.
want to, like I remember telling Toby, if we had to make it off of beef and stirring up crap, then I wasn't gonna do it. Because that's just not my game. But like I said, after the Deshaun Watson stuff, that was our height. We had almost 500 people in chat, and that was crazy. And we blew up. Numbers went through the roof, and in the last
Can't
few years,
imagine
like I said,
that.
oh, dude, it was nuts. You talk about
My
trying to
head
keep,
hurts just even trying to keep that, even
dude, you
thinking
try
about
to,
that.
man, you talk about trying to keep up with chat. Holy Pete.
No, I'll just be like, Chad, y'all are on your own tonight.
That was
Like,
insane that day. It was me and Toby. That was absolutely insane that day. But during this process, I've done things that I never thought about that I would do. Because of this silly channel, I shook Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks' hand down in Mobile.
yeah.
Like I stood up in the press box at the Senior Bowl, and like I was supposed to be there, knowing damn well that I was not supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like
You just snuck in. Didn't
no, but like we were allowed.
I
We were
know, I
allowed.
know.
It was part of the, but still, it was just like it was a first come first serve. If you wanted, so me and Toby made sure we were there. you
Yeah.
know, and like being 5 feet away from Mike Tomlin as he walked through that stadium. Those are things that being in Mercedes-Benz and having people come up to me to shake my hand and want to take a picture.
It's weird, isn't it?
Dude, insane. That's not
Yeah.
weird. It's insane.
Yeah, no.
like having people like come up to me and want to know what I think my opinion on something's gonna be. I'm like,
Yep.
y'all are seeing the same things I'm seeing. And I know y'all feel the same way as far as that. It's just never thought, yeah, as my wife is saying, in the grocery store. I've had multiple people come up to me in the grocery store. And I had one lady early on follow me around.
Oh God.
Not being weird, but I was on the phone with my best friend. And she recognized my voice because her husband watched us.
Oh wow.
Right. Like insane. She was like, I know this is gonna sound crazy. She said, but do you by chance talk about the Falcons? And I just started laughing. I was like, what are the odds?
They happened to me at Kroger, man. Like, Mike ends our show saying, "Out of your Falcon mind, peace."
Right.
So this dude was like 30 feet behind me at Kroger and just says, "Out of your Falcon mind." I was like, "What in the world?" Turned around, and dude was like, "What's up, John?" I'm like, "The hell?" And this is like like local Kroger. So yeah, it's not. You don't get used to it either. It's kind of weird. Like I said, we were really training camp. It's like. It's just weird, yeah.
Like
cool, very cool, but just weird.
Yeah, up at like Flowery Branch during like training camp or the open practices, I kind of expected because anybody who's willing to travel to Flowery Branch to watch the Falcons practice, right, is more than likely going to stumble across something like what we do, right? That's not that's not out of the ordinary. But like you said, like walking around Mercedes-Benz during a game.
Mike got free food.
I got free food. I got a bunch of I got much more than free food.
Mike said I got much more than free food.
But I just want to say, man, I think that I just don't want you to, man, y'all made history. And I don't mean like in like the US history, but in like Falcon in the state of Georgia, y'all made fucking history, man.
Oh,
y'all made history, and everybody know who pound for pound. It's some people who don't know what I be talking about, but everybody know what pound for pound is, and y'all have influenced everybody. And if they tell you or if they don't tell you, trust me, y'all influenced everybody. And I'm talking about you, Toby, and Jonathan. It wouldn't be pound for. I want y'all to know this too, and you heard this from JR. It wouldn't be pound for pound if it wasn't for Jonathan.
That's it.
It wouldn't be no pound for pound. It wouldn't have started if it wasn't for Jonathan. So you got to throw him in there.
You can actually blame, quote unquote, blame, and I say this in joke and in jest. You can actually blame
the whole
Jonathan's
thing.
now
the
wife.
whole thing for Jonathan. Yeah.
Well, no,
really?
like before Jonathan started dating his now wife, we would talk all the time. And we would talk about Falcons, we'd talk about video games, we would just talk. And then he went and started dating somebody, and he didn't have time to talk to me no more. He was too good to talk to me because he had a lady friend, which, hey, I'm glad for because he needed one, and she's a great lady. But because of that, I decided to start, instead of berating my wife with it, even though she would have listened. And I already told her, I was like, guess what? You're on deck because now you get to hear it, But
she's like, oh God.
Yeah. But no, she I pointed the camera at myself and been going with it since. Now let's see. Bradley Burnett, we appreciate
Double
you.
B.
What's up, DJ Bradley?
He says he'll have to rewatch the rest of the show tomorrow. Fine, as always, guys. So thanks again, guys. That goes for Out of Your Falcon Mind as well. Thank y'all very much for so much great content. I got a Falcon-sized hole in my heart. Best wishes, gentlemen. Hey, like and
Much
Bradley, especially, like he was my one and only admin. Like you can see the little. That's when we were really starting to roll, and I couldn't necessarily keep up with everything. Bradley was a very constant and respectful person, so I hit him up, and he was like, "Yeah, sure," and he's almost every show. So appreciate you, Bradley.
Absolutely.
Oh man, check this out. It says, "What's up, Falcon?" This is you talk about like some of my influences. the What's Up Falcons podcast is they've been around longer than us, and they were some of my influences. It's What's Up, fellas? Friends from way back. Yes, y'all are. They're one of the first people to like actually invite me onto their show. So that was fun. Just want to say how proud I am of all of you and all your hard work over the years. Thank you. Like seriously, like you joked about, Aaron Freeman, like he was one of my influences. I even told him down in Mobile, like face to face, as I thanked him. I said, and I understand it now after 8 years of doing it, but I said, your negativity was one of the reasons that drove me to talk, to do it. Because it was during the 2016 season, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, nobody's talking good about this team.
Oh,
And like nobody I listened to. It was Aaron Freeman. It was I can't remember some of the other ones back then. But nobody was talking anything good. And it was I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. One of those whole things that if you can't, do it yourself if you're gonna complain about it kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He says, hold on, Falcon Vic says, can he start a PFP spinoff? Long as you call it something completely different. I mean, I don't necessarily have this trademarked, but come on, Mark. I mean,
Hilarious.
it's what it would have worked for. All right, I'm gonna start going through some of these comments that I've been starring throughout this whole thing as we start to wrap this up. Chester early on says, fire the Falcons mascot. He did not dance enough when they did score touchdowns. I agree, man. If you go fire,
I just want
I do it, man. Hey, I do it, man. Just
There
thank
it
you.
is.
That's right.
There you go. No, I want to say that the loss is probably, you can probably put that on my shoulders as well, because since the bye week, I have been at every opportunity. I have been wearing my Falcons hat.
Oh,
And it got.
thought we had this
it
fixed, Jonathan.
didn't matter if it was cold outside or whatever. But my excuse this time was I got sick last week, and so I was like not feeling good. Didn't have any
that's
hats
when
on,
you
didn't
do
have
the
nothing
whole
on.
like. That's when you do one of these. Hold on, I gotta say, hold on.
So we blame Jonathan for changing
Look,
his routine.
That's when you
I
do
know.
one. That's when you do one of these numbers right here.
There you go. See, that's all you had to
Look
do.
at that. See?
You got to get creative, man. We could have been in the playoffs.
That's
Yeah,
right. We could have been.
yeah.
You just all you had to do.
I
was
let
throw your
everybody
sock
down.
hat.
I am sorry about that.
Good Lord. Our good buddy Chris, who has been with us,
Yes,
Oregon.
yes.
he says, JR and Jonathan, I want to thank you and your families for giving the Falcons fan from Oregon a place to talk about his favorite team for the past 6 years. God bless you both, man. Dude, Chris, like you've been one of the real ones. Like,
Yeah, yes.
Sure has.
he's awesome and amazing.
Mhm.
Skizzle Gaming says, JR and Jonathan, thank you from the United States Air Force. He said, I've been able to keep up with some of what has happened over the years because of y'all, whether I'm deployed or on mission. He
Thank you
says,
for your service.
he says, appreciate you guys. Can't wait for this stream. We appreciate you, dude,
100%.
doing something that they told me I couldn't do, but that's a whole nother ballgame.
I'm in the same boat.
Says Millie Mills says, Millie. He says, hey John,
Millie.
is that puppy in the background? Let me see how big he's gotten now.
They
saw it
left.
earlier.
Yeah, dude, it was
He left.
two. Well, yeah, because we've got Kane, he's the one he's probably talking about because he's just over a year. He's about 14 months old, but he's like 80 pounds now, so I can't pick him up. But the one I had there for a second, that's his cousin. That's Pax. We just got him the week before Christmas. He's 11 weeks right now. So
Wow.
and Pax is about 20-ish pounds. So I could pick him up.
Big.
But it's amazing that this all stayed the way it was because the wife and Liam were off getting groceries because of the snow crap we got coming in.
Yeah.
And Kane was over here, Pax was here. They were both like sitting still and being quiet. They weren't knocking over the camera. It
Pound
was
for
amazing.
pound last show, man.
They knew it. They knew. They were like, we're gonna be good. We're not gonna do anything stupid. We're not gonna bite each other. We're gonna sit here and chill. So it was great. Yeah. But anyway,
Now,
Millie, it's crazy having those two knuckleheads here, though.
I will say this. Now, Fred commented this earlier on. He says, Falcons win the Super Bowl next year since you're shutting it down.
Oh, we're coming back for that.
And you won't be here to talk about it. Hey,
Oh,
look, if that's the sacrifice I got to make,
you.
dude, if that's the sacrifice I got to make, I will gladly sacrifice that
Well,
for a Super Bowl.
I said something earlier. I think it was before we went live.
Yeah.
I said something about JR, he started doing this in 2016.
Yep.
What happened in 2016? We go to the Super Bowl, but we have the horrific collapse.
Right.
The very next season, we get into this. I think, honestly, the 2017 team was a better team than 2016.
I think
They
so.
were. Yeah.
If they beat Philadelphia, they were going to beat Minnesota. There was no way Minnesota was beating anybody after that game. And then I think they would have won that game in the Super Bowl. I think they were a better team. But basically, like, that happened. And then we've had the crap years since then. And so I got thinking, I'm like, well, maybe we're the curse.
Yeah, maybe if we go off the air, they'll start winning, and I'll be like,
Don't
"Dang,
Don't say that. Come on, man.
hey, look again. I will gladly sacrifice it."
Yep.
Izzy said, "Sad to see pound for pound go. Got to find something else for Jonathan to do on a Tuesday night." Hashtag.
Yeah,
weekend.
no, yeah, no
Wait.
more me time.
We'll figure that out. Don't worry about that. We can handle that.
Oh well, yeah, we got something else going on. But I'm going to say this right now. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm not going to say for sure it will, it won't, whatever. And I've said this many times on this show. My favorite part of doing this show, absolute favorite thing to do on this show since I started, was the draft party. Yep, exactly. And so I'm not saying that I will for sure start one up, like a live stream of some kind. But I'm not saying that I won't. I may do a live stream just for the draft.
Hey, I'll go ahead and tell you, we're down. We're down.
I'll say, like, it's already crossed my mind of nothing else of like dragging Jonathan over here to the house and, setting a camera up, because he's always talked about doing something a little like less formal. And I've always been the one that's like, nope, I'm going to sit right here at my desk, at my computer, be as professional as I can be. But who knows what happens? That's April. That's a long way off. Who knows? All right, keep rolling down the list as things that I have starred, things that we need to get to. Chris says, would you bring in Grubb as a passing game coordinator? Seattle just fired Ryan Grubb, their offensive coordinator. He's very familiar with Penix.
Sure is.
He was the offensive coordinator for Washington. So he's very familiar with Penix. That would be, that's an interesting, I would take, like, I know there's some people out there that don't want Ryan Grubb anywhere near, but I would take a look at it myself.
That's worth the conversation.
Right.
I mean, like
conversation.
The passing offense in Seattle is not exactly horrid. I mean, it's not. It maybe took a little bit of a step back, but it's not horrid or anything.
Right.
I mean, look that team he had at Washington. I mean, it was Penix and then 3 NFL wide receivers. So I mean,
correct.
I mean, he might be able to do some things with his boy again. You never know.
Was he good in Washington, John?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they went to the national title.
Man, it's worth the conversation. At least.
Of course,
for sure.
Our good friend Kerry says, "Hey,
Kerry.
John, Mike, JR, and Jonathan." He says, "I didn't realize P4P was taking a break too. I hope you all will be back. Salute to all the things that you've done, putting out great content for so long." Well, ours might be a little bit more than a break, but we'll see.
I was going to say, you see how she tried to say a break?
She tried, yeah. I tried, yeah.
I like how you spent that.
Oh, yeah.
A good one.
And then Willie Doc with another $5. Willie, you need to put your wallet down, bro. Somebody needs to come take Willie's wallet. He says the occasional truck thoughts and cameos is all right with me. Yeah, like if y'all follow me on Twitter or TikTok, I have a pound for pound account or whatever account. Who knows what I'll get. I am a creative person, and when you tend to be a creative person, you need some form of outlet. And who knows what that. I have an idea of where it's pushing it, and it's nothing to do with YouTube.
Smooth jazz with the JR on Friday.
No, sir, definitely not smooth jazz. I can invite y'all out to my church in Villa Rica, but I don't think y'all would enjoy that as much either.
Dude, folks would tune in for that just for going there. But what the hell? We got to see JR doing some jazz.
Dude, any kind of music would be like, it would be horrible coming from me. Uncle Steve. That's another. See, look, y'all ain't gonna miss content. You got guys like Uncle Steve out there. You got guys like Smitty, and you got guys like Berto. I'm about to say you got Berto out there. You got Bro Talk Sports on the TikToks, and I think he does YouTube stuff. Like, there's plenty of content out there. He says, guys, truly appreciate you all 4 of you. JR and Jonathan, awesome hanging out with you and all at Taco Mac and Murph's.
Mhm.
That's right.
That's right.
Thanks for doing this class. God bless you all in your future endeavors. Yes, thank you. We
Back at
appreciate
you,
that.
Hawk.
Yeah, exactly. That was all those things were fun. I mean, like I said, between guys like Berto and Bigelow Country, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh.
Bigelow Country, like y'all are not going to be lacking for content by
Nope.
any stretch of the imagination. And if you're just like, well, I got to know exactly what JR thinks, again, I'll be on Twitter. All you got to do is at me, and I'll respond with something. All right, let's get caught back up. Nick says, thank you, pound for pound. Best wishes on your future. Gave me a place to vent when we lost. Hey, and Nick was one of our very supportive, always not just supportive of us, just very optimistic, fan. Theo says, I am late, but on time to say thank you. Well, thank you. Like all the great words that Mike has heaped upon us, which will let you know. Let's see. Hold on. I got to find it again. Yeah. You're going to make my wife cry, Mike, with all your nice words.
Dog, when I speak, it's from the heart. I mean, everything I say.
Well, I mean, Willie Dog did say that you were speaking
There you go.
facts, so we'll stick with that. But no, all this would not be possible at all if y'all didn't show up every week.
That's it.
If I hit go live and that little eyeball that I'm looking at, which currently has 66 people in here, if that joker said 0, I'd have looked at Jonathan and said, hey, I'll just call you on the phone, bro. Or let's fire up a game and I'll hit you on Discord and we'll BS,
That's what Mike said last week about is like y'all is like people that watch our show, y'all are just seeing Mike and I's private conversation. We just put it
That's
on.
all it is.
We just put it on
That's
YouTube.
it.
That's
Right. Like that's all this is, and that's all this has been. Now there's been aspects of it where I didn't want to sound I wanted to be educated.
Oh yeah,
I
for
didn't
sure.
want to talk out my butt. So there was work that was, put into it. But at the end of the day, yeah, like it was we're just fans, and we were just having fun.
It made me definitely made me get into it more, like doing the 22s last year, which I would have loved to have done this year. I just didn't have the time, just point blank. But that just everything. I mean, it was made me more attentive to everything going on, and just diving into this, like you did, JR, diving into the schemes and different stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild, man. It was cool. It was fun. But like I said, that's great. But at the same time, man, like when you do those videos and you want to do them right and you want to edit them, you're talking about a day's worth at least of getting stuff together.
Look at that.
Damn, look at you.
Look at that. I got one for the defense too. And then, look, hey, if y'all thought I was crazy, right? Let's see. When we hired,
Arthur, you are certifiable, but that's
I am. But when we hired Arthur Smith, I bought that.
Oh yeah,
there it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, Arthur probably sleeps with that.
Yeah,
probably
under his pillow.
It was a thing of like, I didn't want to, like, I wanted to give good information. I wanted to give educated opinions, because also nowadays it's super easy to, like, everybody's got one of these. Everybody's got a smartphone.
Yep.
And that's all it takes to have a YouTube channel.
That's it.
And that's a good and bad thing.
that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
That's a good and bad thing. Low barrier to entry means you get a lot of knuckleheads.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I hoped that we were going to do was separate ourselves from the knuckleheads by being, as professional as we could be, not shock jock worthy, and educated, right? And I don't know if it's the algorithm. I don't know what has changed, but that's not what people wanted anymore. Not enough. I hate to say this, not enough to keep, doing it and pouring in the.
We should have started a beef between each other. We should have started like this low key, like we should have just went in like WWE style.
Right.
Yeah,
we
we just
could have
we
been
sneak
cutting promos every week.
could be sneak dissing them on the show. Like we know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like some dude with some beard talking on this other channel.
But,
like,
right.
But
There's
man,
this guy
Uncle
with
Steve
dreadlocks.
was just in the comments. He said, thank you for the class. I'm pretty sure he meant to say thank you for doing this classy. So that's what we respect about y'all the whole time is you never done that. And there was times where I know you was mad at the team performance and you wanted to, but you didn't do that. You curved it and you tried to be positive and you always gave out great information. It was always a classy show. So that's why I call it
Yeah.
It was always always classy.
What I tried to bring was there's so many, like, just on Twitter today, yesterday, whatever, like, just looking at some people out there, like, they'll spout out an opinion that they just like they're spouted as if they know it. No, we know he can't. Talk about Raheem Morris. We know he can't take us to a championship. How do you know that? You don't know that,
right?
Okay. There's too many people these days that are just like, again, they're like, they're talking about like, Las Vegas. They got rid of theirs after 1 year. Now we got Las Vegas getting rid of Pierce today, and so I'm like that. So you want to get rid of Raheem Morris after 1 year, and you're basically wanting to emulate the Vegas Raiders,
right?
Right. Come on now.
Yeah,
so I wanted to bring a little bit of like, there's so many things that happen behind the scenes, like a little bit of thought process of, yes, we watch these guys, they're playing a game. And they're getting paid a lot of money to do this. And so all we usually see is what is on the TV every Sunday or Monday or whatever. But for them, this is a 9 to 5. This is their job. They have a workplace that they go to just like all of us. Okay. Somebody was like, a coach doesn't need to be friends with the players and all this other stuff. I'm like, but think about it. If you were going to work and you were going to work with a hard ass who just did nothing but make your life miserable while you were there at work, are you going to want to work there? Are you going to want to take pride in the work that you do there and be productive, be as productive as you can be when you're in that kind of environment? No, you're not going to. Why would some guy who's making billions of dollars want to put in the hard work for a guy that's just going to treat you like crap all the time? Now, I'm not saying there aren't times to go get down on somebody and make sure that they understand, like, this is unacceptable. But to rag on a guy because he makes going into work a fun thing to do,
like all of us,
like that has ramifications past just this week's game, past just this season's games. This is, you build that, because everybody in the NFL will hear about what it's like in your building, and if it sounds like it's crap, they're not going to want to go and play there. So
and that's the deal. Like the people who have the one reason why we started doing this on a Tuesday is so that it was not knee-jerk reactions. It gave me especially a day or so to really analyze what was going on. It gave me time to think about how I wanted to talk about it. Think about what I wanted to say, because if I came on here after every game, after every loss, I'd probably sound like the vast majority of y'all. Want to fire everybody, But yeah, that's when you talk about like being, classy. That's part of it, is wanting to, like, trying to look at the whole picture. Yes, we're fans first, all four of us. Like, you don't put yourself through this if you're not a fan,
Nope.
So we're fans first, but we're not only fans. No, definitely not only fans.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Clip that.
I mean, maybe Mike. Mike could probably pull that off. Me, on the other hand, they would probably They'd probably pay me not to be on OnlyFans.
Hey man, there's some. Nah.
Well, no, John, he works out quite a bit. He could probably pull it off, but yeah, me, not so much, not so much. All right, so let's see.
Oh, you got 2 feet. Somebody will pay to take a look at those.
This just went sideways as hell.
So left out of nowhere.
Just out.
Just,
I mean, we got talking about feet fetish.
Okay. All right, we're gonna pull this thing.
It's the way to
back
go
on.
out.
See, this is like y'all see now why I generally try to cut this off at about an hour, right? And then once you start going over that, it gets a little crazy. All right, let's try to start wrapping. Yeah, Willie Dog says P4P after dark. All right,
there we go. That's what I'm saying.
That's all. So okay, here's some other ones. Fred says he's gonna lament he can't call me negative anymore. I mean, you can still bother me on Twitter if you want to. Like I said, that's on you if that's how you choose to spend your time. But he did follow it up with, before y'all go, who do you think will be the DC next season? Do you think it's Jimmy Lake, or is it just a foregone conclusion that because we want him to be gone so bad? So how about this? Instead of Jimmy Lake, instead of saying who do you think will be, if they were to move on from Jimmy Lake, John Yates, who would you want them to replace with?
I mean, I'd be fine with some of the guys that's been mentioned, Steve Wilkes being at practice and stuff like that. And he was somebody I liked years ago, even for the head coaching job. I thought he got a raw deal at Carolina. That team played their ass off for him, and he did a hell of a job with that defense. And I'll be good with that. I'll be good with I don't think Salah I think Salah probably wants a head coaching job, but I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind his DC he had, Jeff Ulbrich. I wouldn't mind him. Come back home. Yeah. And I got to believe. Well, I don't have to. I mean, it's the Falcons, but
choose to believe.
Yeah. I mean, like hearing Raheem's comments, I mean, he wasn't super, throwing flowers toward the defense. So I feel like there has to be.
I'll say this, even a day after.
Yeah. Right. Still,
he was still like using words like disgusted.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like I got it right afterwards, like right after the game.
Mm-hmm.
I even thought it was a little, man, generally you don't hear
coaches
speak like that.
Well, especially Raheem's generally super positive.
Right. And then
all the time.
Follow it up a day later with the same, after you've had time to think about it,
being honest,
your coach speak, get it right, and to still kind of double down on it, and even kind of go in on Young Wei Koo a little bit, and like miss too many kicks kind of thing. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Mike, who do you anybody?
Wilkes.
Wilkes.
Yeah, to me, I think it's the most natural and like the most qualified. I mean, that's available.
Yep. Yeah, I think like my top.
Not Jimmy Lake for sure. Jimmy got to go.
No, I think Jimmy was in over his head.
Yeah,
100%.
There were some people who, like have no real ties or affiliation to the Falcons that I reached out to when we hired Lake, and that were more college guys. And what they came back with, I was like, oh great. I was like, well. Maybe Blake will be better. Nope.
Didn't dude send you the puke emoji when you asked him about it or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
awesome.
One guy straight up and down sent me the puke emoji, and another guy, more or less called him a dumpster fire. So, and all that pretty much has
come to fruition.
Yeah,
I just don't see how you bring him back and like the fan base is gonna be like zero excitement. Like negative excitement about that deal. Like, what kind of faith are you going to have that defense is going to look any way sort of?
Well, that's
excitement. Jesus,
that's the thing. That's the thing is like, okay, now to me is what we're really going to learn about Raheem. Because when you get the job initially, you're thrown right into the fire. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to get together a staff. You have to evaluate the players that you have. You have to start looking at it's a lot right off the rip. Kind of like with a rookie who comes in. right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They end their college, they go on the circuit of bowl games to all-star games to combine. It's like you don't really get a fair assessment or start to get a fair assessment until year 2, year 3, right?
Mhm.
So same deal. Now is when I'm really going to start to see what kind of tenure is Raheem going to have. You threw together the team that you could put together with the information that you had. Now you've had a full season to reformulate and re-go. Okay, this is what we need. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. This is what we need to fix. This is what. And if you stay the course and just say, "Oh, it'll be better next year," then like may have some issues, right?
Yeah,
may
because I mean,
so,
yeah, over 18 games, you would hope to see, and that's what's so mind boggling. Is like you saw the defense, whether it was Raheem having his hands on it or not after the bye week, just a massive improvement, right? I mean, the pass rush
Yeah.
was getting after it. We were being more aggressive on the secondary. We weren't playing 25 yards off dudes, especially in the red zone. Like we were just making more sense playing defense, right? And then for whatever reason, it went out the window against the Carolina Panthers, and it's like,
Yep.
I don't think you were in backstage yet or even on, but when I was like laying out my conspiracy theory, is it really felt like it was like, okay, from the bye week up until that Panthers game, Raheem was very much hands on and very
he
much
was like,
like,
okay, Jimmy, see if you learned something.
right. And part of me thinks like, okay, last game of the season, probably, I hate to say last, probably felt like you wasn't going to make the playoffs because there was
Right.
hardly any way the Bucks were going to lose,
Mhm.
even though there for a while,
Man.
it was anyway. But so you felt like, okay, maybe, all right, Jimmy, see what, show me what you can do. This team hasn't been great. They've gotten better, but they haven't been great. So you should be able to like keep it within range. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not. Definitely
Yeah.
did not keep and so yeah, you can't bring him back.
I don't know how you do.
Okay.
I
So
don't know how you do it.
Well, you bring him back as a secondary coach.
if we want to look at this from a different so we hear reports that Raheem was more involved. We don't know exactly what that means.
Nope,
Mhm.
sure don't.
We don't know exactly how much we're talking.
Correct.
So we're ready to we're hearing this, so and that immediately makes us ready to say, okay, since the bye, Raheem's been in the mix, and therefore everything that's happened since then, and all the progress with the defense is because of Raheem Morris getting more involved. We don't know that's for sure. Maybe
No, we
Jimmy
don't.
Lake did do that, did do something different. Again, why he would do that and then completely throw it all out the window in the last game, I have no idea. But if that were the case, let's just say for the sake of argument that Jimmy Lake did make some changes and the defense came out and was totally different defense than what we had before. If that happened, I could see them wanting to keep Lake on because he was able to do that. Now, why it fell apart in the last game of the season, have no idea. Right?
Yeah, makes no sense.
But I could see that being a case as to why you would bring Jimmy Lake back is if he worked his ass off and he worked really hard to get that defense around more so than what we're giving him credit for because we're hearing that Raheem is more hands-on.
Right. That's the aspect as us sitting here, in our respective desks that we just have to speculate, as fans. Is like we take what we hear, whether it be a report, a tweet, you like determine whether it's viable or what have you, and you formulate your opinions, right? So, but we'll see. We'll see what changes. Like changes have to be made. There's 40 something guys who are up for new contracts or let walk or what have you. So no telling what this team will look like. Part of the question is, is Grady back next season? It seems like that's been a question the past few seasons. What do you think, Mike? You think they bring?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. To me, in my personal opinion, he looked like he had a touch of Kirk. Like it went off. It wasn't the same. You wasn't effective. You looked slower. You looked like you lost it. To be honest, and I'm just a person that's in full. I'm blind when it comes to Falcons. When that and John to tell you, man, Deion Jones.
Oh
He
yeah.
and I was still like, no, he the greatest, man. Matt Ryan. I'm still like, no, I don't see nothing.
No.
I'm still. So when like Grady's doing that, I'm still like, man, I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming everybody else. But if I'm being fair, because it's over now, it didn't look the same. It didn't look the same. So I would not have a problem with him not being there. And I love him to death. He did great for us. This is no diss. I would never talk bad about the man, but he's just not as effective as he was. So I wouldn't have a problem. But if he was back, I would be celebrating. I love Grady
Oh
Jarrett.
yeah, for sure.
I love him to death. To me, he's a Falcon. He'll retire here. I have no problem if he is back, but if he was to go, I wouldn't be mad.
What do you
Yeah.
think, John Yates? What do you think? You think they bring him back, or I don't see. I mean, yeah.
I think he's probably back. I think on a line that
If he wants to be, I think he's back.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean,
If he sees
defensive-
it as
yeah. I mean, it's like you hope that Rook takes a big jump in year 2.
Right.
You know, because he plays similarly to Grady, a lot of raw power and just but you know, like young Grady, I should say, like just quick and just he comes back and hopefully we add some more to that line, because the last thing you want to be doing is getting rid of quality pieces on the defensive line. I know he's took a notch down, and I know the contract comes into it and stuff like that too. But yeah, I'd see him coming back. I don't think he wants to. I think he wants to stay here too. I think he wants to see this kind of rebuild out as well. So
Right.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's excited about it.
Cowan says, I read a suggestion Jerry Gray could be promoted to DC. That be like reshuffling of responsibilities. Maybe, I don't know. That could be interesting. Fred Butts adds, what do y'all think about Rex Ryan? I think he's only coming out of the booth for a head coaching job.
Yeah, he's not coming back as a DC.
Like he interviewed for the Jets job, and to me, he's only coming back as a head coach, or he'll sit in ESPN and make a lot of money without having to make any decisions. Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. The Family Gamer says, I'm sitting on the outside saying if we had won and the Bucks had lost, ain't nobody going anywhere. If I fired anyone, it'd be the GM. He's been around. Love Grady. Hope he stays. Less money. Yeah, I hear you, but like to me, the GM, like, what are we hanging around his neck? Is it or is it because Kirk fell off? He can't control that. Is it because
Koo missed kicks?
He can't control that, right? He put together the best roster we've had in a while.
So I just want to say this, because I know that I don't know why he's the face for like all the bullets, but Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Troy Anderson, Clark Phillips, Jesse Bates. I don't see where y'all saying like he just been butchering his job where he should get fired. He's done great. He just missed the big one. He just missed the biggest shot when the game was on the line. He missed the biggest shot, but he hit all the rest of them.
Right now,
everything.
He's done quite well.
I do think next year is a really important year for Terry, though.
I think so. Like
year.
Is his seat getting warmer? Sure,
for sure.
Fine. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but everything that you enjoy about this team right now, because of, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, he's definitely missed on some picks.
Right.
There's for sure. Like, there's no doubt. I mean, if you look at any GM, let's just pick one. Outside of a couple of guys in the league, pick any GM's last 5 drafts, you're going to see some stinkers in every single one of them.
For sure.
All down the line. They just get amplified. But you look at, and I told Mike a few weeks ago on the show, like, the GMs really make their names because the draft is such a crapshoot. Like, you don't know who's going to translate to the league and who's not. They could be just balls to the wall, amazing player in college, and all of a sudden it just doesn't happen in the NFL for whatever reason. But they make their bones in free agency. So can you go out and who can you sign? Like nobody that I know of was crapping on Judon and Simmons signing. Nobody.
No.
It was like, shit,
And I'll say this,
and that was, it's like they didn't
Simmons,
necessarily live it up to it. So
for what you're paying Simmons,
right,
he's played fine. Like,
Yeah.
has he been prime Justin Simmons? No,
Nope.
but he hadn't been a liability.
No,
like
Judon, people were acting like he was Richie Grant.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No.
Like there are there some misses? Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
look, if you want your quarterback protected, you just draft Jalen Mayfield. That's all I'm trying to say. Like,
Boom.
there's some misses.
Yeah.
We can argue about Kyle Pitts. This next year will tell. I've already said it. If I was the GM, I'd be trying to recoup whatever I could for him.
Yeah, trade him.
But we'll see, right?
Well, look,
It's just-
like a lot. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Probably am. When I think of a GM, especially as far as how the Atlanta Falcons do it, maybe some other teams do it differently or whatever. The gist that I get is that as a GM, your job is to go out there, scout as many players as you can possibly scout, gather as much information as you can possibly gather, and then from there, you work with the coach and the coaching staff to determine what they're looking for.
Yep.
And you work with them and you figure out what it is that they want. And then your job is to then go get that, whether it's a player, whether it's a player like a pro player, whether it's a college player, whatever. We really like this guy. And we'd really like to bring him in. Okay, now the GM's job is to try to get him in without completely screwing up the entire cap and the money structure and handicapping you from doing anything else, right? And so far, Terry's done that. Like, if when Arthur Smith was here, we knew that he looked for certain guys, so they went out and got those guys that Arthur Smith wanted, right? We've seen it both last year and this past off season. We saw multiple times we were trying to go get edge rushers, try to get Montez Sweat. We tried to get guy out of Minnesota. I can't remember his name. Daniil Hunter. We tried to get him. We tried to get multiple guys. It just didn't work out. So, like, I see him working, and I see him working with the coaching staffs that he's been with to get what they believe is the best for what they're trying to accomplish. And as long as he's doing that job properly, then I don't necessarily have a problem with him.
As long as I'm not hearing reports that there's some kind of power struggle going on. You hear that?
Yeah.
Now,
As long
if
as
they're
I'm not-
collaborative and working together, GM's doing it.
Yeah.
Now, if the product doesn't work out on the field, that falls to me more so on the coaching staff because
Coaching
they
staff
went
and
to the
players
GM
at
and
that
said,
point.
"This is what I need.
But he get all
Give
the
me what I
blame.
need. I can be successful."
Yeah, well,
He-
yeah, somebody's got to get blamed, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
if
he
you
was
ask
kinda-
for pineapples on the pizza and I buy it and you don't like the pineapples on the pizza, I just bought what you told me to buy.
Well,
All
that's
right.
it. I mean, grocery
Yeah,
shopping.
Don't blame me if you don't like it.
I mean,
And it-
I'm gonna blame you because pineapple on a pizza is just an abomination to begin with. But
We're not going down that road.
but,
He
yeah,
about to
no, I
start
mean,
a whole
you-
nother argument.
totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, we with the QB situation, like he was almost kind of in a win situation. I mean, if Kirk comes in, only if it worked out perfectly, if Kirk wins one more game or two more games out tended to be, and we end the playoffs, like you said earlier, nobody's talking about anything. The deal, and like we're just talking about the playoffs. Everybody's job is safe. Terry's fine. All this other stuff.
Yep.
But because the players didn't do what they're supposed to do and lose those games, we're having this discussion now. But if he just goes out there and drafts Penix at 8, and we start Penix from day one, he's like we've seen so many rookie quarterbacks just really go through it. And then they're like, well, damn, why'd you bring in as a veteran to help this guy along? Well, I mean, it's like it's a catch-22. Like there's benefits, and I and all of the four of us, it seems like, didn't necessarily want Kirk because I know Mike and I didn't. That wasn't our pick. It's
No,
like
it wasn't it definitely wasn't the route I wanted to go.
no, but like after they signed him, we're like, all right, well,
Right.
he's here. They want to
That's
win.
right,
Let's go. So yeah.
Matt
Well, man.
Rodman could have been brought back to do what Kirk Cousins did. I'm just saying he could have did like
Who was
equal
that?
or
What'd you
better.
say?
That's all I'm saying.
Who'd you say could have?
Matt Ryan, he could have
Oh, I
done
got
what Kirk did.
I don't know, dog.
I already told you, dude. We've talked about this cult season.
No, I'm not letting it
No,
go,
no.
John. I'm not letting it go. My hope, here's my hope, y'all. I just want to say this. I hope Penix go and he carry us to the Super Bowl, right? This is a dream I have. I have it almost every night. Okay, he got us in the Super Bowl, right? But then for some reason his arm just lock up something, and it's like an emergency, and it's third string, and we bring like Matty out the booth. He calling the game. We bring him out the booth. He stick his old number on. He violating all. He getting fined. We getting
I'm about to
fined.
say we getting all kind of.
all type of breaking rules, but it's legal. He get in the game. He win us. He go on a 2-minute drill. Matty Ice win the Super Bowl. He get a ring. Then he, for some reason, I'm there. I don't know what. Then he point to me out of everybody. He just random.
Oh,
You. Then he bring me on the field and give me the Super Bowl.
he's gonna give you his Super Bowl ring, Mike.
Out of your Falcon mind, baby. I can dream.
Mike, how much you drinking before this dream, bro?
Listen, Mike, he's probably. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't just finish it with like Mike. Mike, I've seen you for 3 years on Out of Your Falcon Mind, and you talk about me so well. And I saw my wife liked your post, and so I had to come give you this ring.
Hey, Chris is asking, did Andre Rison catch the pass?
That's Andre.
Yeah.
I love Andre Rison. Yes. Hey, I love Andre Rison, so I'm gonna go with that.
There you go. All right, folks. We are bumping up on 2 hours. Might as well. It's probably the longest show we've had outside of a draft show.
Yep.
But we appreciate all y'all. John, Mike, we appreciate y'all. Y'all have been more than just like more than just, there's a word I'm looking for, like sharing the same space as far as being creators. Y'all have become friends.
Yep.
And appreciate y'all greatly. I know this won't be the last time we converse.
Not at all.
You know, even outside of all this. So, but for folks who have stuck with us, you know, Chris, Willie Doc, Dre Murphy, GTA, or GA Texas boy, Tasman, all y'all are awesome. Nick, y'all are great. I could do this all night as far as thanking y'all. And I do truly hope y'all understand how much these past, 8 years have been something that I never thought would have happened or never thought could have happened. This has been fun. This has been amazing, but everything comes to an end. And for now, this is definitely the end for us. This is the end for Pound. As Cohen says, one door opens, closes, another one opens. Who knows what'll happen? Never say never, but this has been great. In a way, yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, JR. But no, man. I was going to tell you, and like you said, and Mike and I, we talked about this. We said on our show, probably the most unexpected consequence in a good way of us doing the show was meeting the folks and becoming like I said, you guys becoming friends, right. Being able to, converse outside of the show. That never would have happened if we hadn't been like, hey, let's just do this podcast. And people are the most important thing, man. So, and not just you guys, the community that we've been a part of, been amazing, dude. So like Mike's already thrown every flower at you guys that's possible. So I can't really throw any more, but seriously, man, y'all have been a staple in the Falcons community for so long, and an inspiration to us and to a lot of other creators. So definitely gonna be missed, man, because without a doubt. But like you said, man, like we said, we never say never. Like I said, never know what's happening in the future. I'm totally down for a draft show. If y'all want to revive something for the draft night, just let me know. But yeah, man, y'all have been amazing. Y'all are awesome. Y'all know I love you. So yeah, all the best, man.
John, Mike, tell them where they can find you.
You want to do that, Mike? Or you want me to do it?
You can. I don't even know our own tags.
I don't even know. So look, yeah. So our last show. So if y'all don't know, our last show is because we're going away at least for a while too. It's tomorrow night, 7:00. You might see you will see these faces on there tomorrow night because they're going to come back through for our show. We're going to have some other folks come through that's been on the show before too. So we're at least going to go for 2 hours. It may be more than 2 hours knowing our what way our shows go. So, but we'll talk about the game. We'll talk about the future of the Falcons. We'll talk about everything, whatever comes through. We'll have a few questions for our guests, man. But yeah, so and a shout out, man. Just being able to join you guys on y'all show and vice versa. Thank y'all for always having us and being generous and welcoming us on every time. And when we started the show, when we had like 6 followers and y'all were like, yeah, sure, we'll have y'all on. I mean, didn't have to do that. So we much appreciate that.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it was, we'll definitely be around. But yeah, just like I said, y'all come through tomorrow night, have a good time. And yeah, we'll close it down the right way.
There you
And I
go.
do want to throw this in
Absolutely.
there just to piggyback off what John said. The last thing I want to say is these 2 shows, I'm just talking to the public, these 2 shows could not be more different.
Oh yeah.
These
Right.
2 shows could not be more different. So it means the world to me
Yeah.
that we were able to do this so many times where either we was on their show or they came on our show. And every single time we did it, it blended seamlessly. And that speaks to all the people that you see on the screen. Because we do something drastically different. And every time we combined it, it was supposed to repel and not mix. And it mixed perfectly.
That's right.
And that got something, and that's because of Jonathan, that's because of Johnny Yates, and that's because of JR. And that's it means the world to me to that because that speaks of the human beings that the people are. That don't have nothing to do with the Falcons. That has
Mhm.
nothing to do with the Falcons. That has everything to do with the kind of people that you see on the screen and their open-mindedness and their like willingness to be silly and like optimistic. So I just wanted to say that it's been a pleasure, man. And I wish you guys the best. And I hope you guys come back. You know, Jordan even came back. He had on number 45, but he came back. Right. So I really hope that you guys can come back. But if you guys choose not to, man, we want to thank you. I heard a quote one time that said that you either sad that it ended or you're glad it happened. And I'm more
Right.
glad that you guys happened.
There you
I'm
go.
glad that Jonathan got you to be a Falcon fan. I'm glad you took it seriously. I'm glad that you joined Toby. I'm glad when he left, you brought Jonathan. I'm glad for every stage of pound for pound. And I'm glad that you had the classiness that you had, because it raised us all up to be, I shouldn't curse as much. I shouldn't make that joke. I should be more professional just to be able to exist in the same
There
space.
you go.
So we got to give y'all props for that. And we love you guys and we wish y'all the best, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Man, absolutely. Thank
As
you.
always, folks, y'all can find me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Jonathan,
At Jonathan M. Holder, come by, say hi.
there it is. Hey, don't look for us next Tuesday. We won't be here.
Nope.
But we love y'all. As always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.